All right, everybody. So we have a slew of all kinds of information coming out about the pre-patch. It's all over the place. So this is information overload. If you've missed one of my videos, hopefully you don't miss this one. And we get to see exactly what's going on. This one is brought to us by Taliesin and Evertel, going over what it is they are going to be giving us for pre-patch.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here.
And I'm Evertel.
And today we are talking World of Warcraft Midnight, which is here. And when I say midnight, I of course mean the midnight pre-patch, which may not be the actual start of the new expansion, but is definitely the real start, and is chock full of major changes for World of Warcraft. The addition of Devourer and Void Elf Demon Hunters, a much needed stat squish, massive UI updates, the inevitable add-on Apocalypse, a revamped transmog system, housing updates, a pre-patch event of course, catch-up mechanics, and a complete rework of every single class and spec in full. Almost forgot about that one. It is a veritable smorgasbord of new stuff, all hitting the game once on January the 20th US and the 21st in the EU. And with Midnight releasing on March the 2nd, that gives us just 6 weeks to get virtually ripped enough to take on the Void and, maybe relearn your class. So, join us for everything that's coming in the Midnight pre-patch. Everything you need to know and everything you should be aware of to make the most and prepare for Midnight.
There's a lot coming. I mean, you're going to see everything on January 20th if you're in the NA, and you'll get to see what your classes are going to be like. I think that's one of the biggest things that we are looking forward to is what did we lose? What did we gain? What is it going to look like? We have so much to look at.
Okay, go.
Housing. Player housing is here! Okay, I know many of us have been playing in early access for a while now, but with the pre-patch, it is a bona fide, genuine feature of the game for everyone. So long as they own Midnight, of course. For literally millions of players, pre-patch marks the very start of their housing journey. And some of them might build masterpieces like this, and that can only be a good thing. But there's plenty to look forward to even if you're a WoW Sims veteran by now. Endeavors will finally be hitting player neighborhoods. These are fun-themed neighborhood-wide activities that reward similarly fun and themed decor items for participation and meeting goals. This functions similarly to the trading post in that you'll have a monthly progress bar, which can be filled by completing various tasks. The progress bar for Neighborhood Favor is shared between everyone, but the tasks also give personal rewards including XP, House XP.
Now, I haven't been someone that delved into the housing as much, so I don't know exactly everything that it. Do you guys have like a mayor? Is there a mayor of your subdivision or of your housing area? I don't know anything about this, so this is all kind of new to me.
Gold and community coupons, which are the special Warbound Endeavor currency for spending on all your cute little themed decor items. So yes, for those of you who have already been playing in early access, this means your house XP will finally be able to go past 5. More housing upgrade glory awaits. Endeavors run for about a month. For private and guild neighborhoods, the neighborhood manager gets to pick which one is active.
Okay, so that's what it is. It's a neighborhood manager. So your mayor is your neighborhood. It could be your guild master or, who puts these things together, I wonder.
From month to month, while the server chooses for you on public neighborhoods. There can also be game-wide endeavors that align with a holiday or expansion storytelling that can be pushed out at any time. While an endeavor is happening, you'll have themed vendors appear, and as your neighborhood favor progresses, you'll unlock items that can be bought for community coupons. And if a friend of yours is in a different neighborhood with a different themed endeavor up, you're free to visit them and use your coupons to buy from their vendors. The pre-patch also sees the addition.
Oh, that's pretty neat. So you could go to other people's neighborhoods and kind of like trick or treat off of their vendors. Like, what do you got in your list? It sounds kind of neat.
Of Charter Neighborhoods, which is a private neighborhood created by a group of players. These are much like guild neighborhoods, but obviously don't rely on everyone being in the same guild to create one. Charter neighborhoods require 10 signatures to create, and much like public neighborhoods, they are limited to 55 plots only. if you need more than that, you're better off creating a dedicated guild with multiple neighborhood shards to accommodate everyone. More last-minute changes to housing you may not have even heard about. There's now a catalog tab to the house chest, which lets you place and preview decor that you don't own yet inside your house to see if it really is worth getting that old meta achievement or run that out-of-the-way dungeon for the housing rewards after all. Also, the new Founders Point and Razorwind Shores Warband Camp character select screens are going live with pre-patch.
Those are cool. So you have new campsites.
And also, decor vendors now appear clearly marked on the minimap. If you know, you know.
Devourer Demon Hunters. Demon Hunters will finally get access to their much-coveted new spec, the Devourer. All the edgy, swoopy, tattooy, blindfoldy fun of a regular Demon Hunter, but now in purple. This is...
Oh, you see, now that was one thing that, if you look at this little, they have purple eyes here. So I heard a lot that they only had the green eye variation, not the purple. And I like that the scars are purple. So that is cool.
Purple. This is an all-new range DPS spec that harnesses cosmic and void powers to do a range of showy, flashy, cosmic voidy damage through mostly mid-range attacks like Evoker, with the occasional jump in to do some melee jump out again bits thrown in. The rotation is based around collecting soul fragments in order to burst into Metamorphosis form, whilst keeping up Fury to maximize your time in said big blasty form, because the longer you stay big purple, the more chances you get to drop a collapsing star on.
So it looks like they actually have that ability too. So the longer you hold down your button, the harder the spell will hit.
Your enemies' heads. And that's good. You definitely want to be dropping those on people's heads. With the new Devourer spec, there is also a new hero talent tree to accommodate them. The Annihilator tree will serve both Devourers and Vengeance Demon Hunters who are losing the Fellscarred tree to make room for it. Devourer taking that as their second hero talent option. All Demon Hunters will have access to the new spec immediately with launch of the pre-patch. The first time there's been a brand new...
Oh, you know what I think it is? I believe when you're in Metamorphosis, then you get the purple eyes. I don't know why I'm making such a big deal about this. It's just a little aesthetic. But then when they're in their regular form, they still have the green eyes.
Spec to get stuck into in pre-patch since Legion. So prepare to jump in and enjoy our new big veiny purple boys as you progress through the pre-patch content. And then jump out again to a safe mid-range distance and drop a collapsing star on someone's head.
Hey, good news for, Demon Hunters again, as our favorite colorway of the sassy elf archetype, Void Elves, will finally be able to become Demon Hunters. And if that doesn't excite you, well...
I'm telling you, this is one of the first things that I said when I went into being a Demon Hunter, and I picked a Blood Elf as my model for that. I was like, it would be so cool to have a Void Elf. And someone told me that'll never happen because of the lore. 2026, baby. I got it. What am I going to name it? Funcso Sister? I don't know.
May I gently point out that it means your Demon Hunter can now have this fruity little beard. Yeah. Now you're excited. This will be available to you to unlock upon the patch going live, so you will need to complete a few short quests before you can race change to this app.
I don't find anything wrong with that. I like the idea of that. I wish you would have given it its own intro to where you get to do a whole storyline once you become the Void Elf Demon Hunter. I think when you become the Devourer Demon Hunter, you should get 20 quests. 20 quests of nothing but some cinematics, make it a mini movie. I like the whole idea of that because, agree with me or not, there isn't a lot when it comes to you getting into the story to be able to see what it's like and hear a little bit more about how it all came to be and maybe give you a little bit of some, storyline of something kind of like your whole going back in time and learning how Xal'atath came to be and things like that, but this here could be something for catch up and story information of new players that are picking up the game off the shelf.
Absolutely fruity bastard. First, make sure that you're up to date with your 11.2 quests and have completed the In Search of Darkness quest line in Koresh. This is the one that starts with Adaris Duskblaze and Leona Darkstriders. I'll show you yours if you show me mine, Demon Hunter Void Elf Pact, and ends with you kicking Adaris into a void portal. Once the pre-patch launches, you'll be able to pick up the Pursuit Continues in either Dornagal or Silvermoon, in which Alari the Soul Eater agrees to continue Leona's and therefore your training and officially bestowing Void Elves with Demon Hunter skills.
Class updates.
Well, before we get into the class updates, one thing that I don't see that they mentioned is that the Demon Hunter, the Void Elf, is going to be starting at a level 10. So once you're getting this new ability, I don't believe if you have a level 80 character, they can become it. I'm not quite sure how that works. Maybe somebody down can let me know in the comments. I don't know if you'll be able to take your existing class and pick up this, or if you have to make a new character. I wonder.
Good news, everyone! All 13 classes and 39 specializations are seeing new talents and major changes across the board. Bad news, everyone! What I just said before. In short, Midnight is bringing a revamped approach to class design with a focus on paring down spells and abilities and simplifying rotations, a new philosophy that may just have a tiny little something to do with the cutback in combat add-on functionality that comes with this patch too. More on that later. We've got our specific Midnight class guide videos about to go live any minute now, where we'll be getting into all the specific details, but generally it's fair to say that most classes have seen a consolidation of abilities and a streamlining of their core rotation to make them all feel a bit more modern and zippy. So enhancement goes from being a needlessly complex collection of overlapping abilities and priorities, and extremely fun because of that needless complexity in my opinion, to a much more straightforward type of builder-spender. Outlaw goes from being a buff tracking anxiety simulator to basically just being a cooldown class now. I'm doing it a little disservice there, but you know what? Outlaw does me a disservice every single day. Outlaw. All my homies say Outlaw. Fire Mage went from a zippy, streamlined, modern-feeling spec with 4 buttons to a zippy, streamlined, modern-feeling spec with, like, 3 buttons? Obviously, opinions are going to vary greatly on these changes, depending on what it was that you valued about a certain class in the first place. You may be distraught that Feral no longer needs to master the archaic art of snapshotting, or you might be absolutely thrilled. At the moment, I'm probably more of the former, but if you're like me, don't panic, because it's probably fair to say that this is the simplest that the classes will ever be, as Blizz play it safe and overcompensate for those add-on changes that we'll talk about in a minute. And it's fair to assume that more depth will creep back in as people get used to the new UI limitations.
Stat Squish.
I think it's going to be very cool. Once again, I know there's a lot of people out there that like to think that just because the squish is going to happen and the pruning is going to happen, the game is going to get simpler. I don't think that is going to be the case. I think you're going to have a nice rounded experience in the game with a little bit less headache of tracking all of your dots and things like that. I think it's going to be a beneficial on-ramp when it comes to new players, and that is where Blizzard is trying to make sure they nail the mark, is getting new people into the game while not losing track of the veterans out there.
Listen, we're all WoW players. We all love a big number. But it is time for yet another stat squish. The Midnight pre-patch brings WoW's 4th algorithmic scaling down of numbers across the board, including item and player stats, health, and damage. Why do you need to know or care about this? While scaling should be a mostly invisible process, it should be consistent and should have no bearing on your gameplay in theory. In practice, there are often some hiccups during its implementation, particularly in legacy content, seeing random difficulty spikes and old school mobs needing a hotfix here and there to get them back in line.
Add-on and you...
That's what we were talking about. If you guys are trying to get all your little goodies from a lot of your legacy content, you want to try and make sure you do that now before the squish, so it's just as easy, because a lot of it won't scale once the pre-patch drops, and they'll have to bring that in line, like they said, and balance it later.
I overhaul. We've all been talking about it for a while, but the add-on apocalypse officially commences with the Midnight pre-patch. If you haven't been following this whole saga avidly, then congratulations, I'm very jealous. And you could be forgiven for thinking that WoW doesn't have add-ons now. Add-ons are gone, rip add-ons. That's not even slightly true, but there are big changes afoot. And the overall aims of these changes are something I think 99% of us can absolutely get behind. To get rid of all those add-ons that trivialize or functionally automate game mechanics that frankly aren't meant to be trivialized or
Now, this is something here that I was talking about when referring to Final Fantasy XIV. I've never seen this weak aura ever. So this is new to me, but this is exactly some of those game playing abilities that they just take the excitement or the know-how out of the game and they do it for you. You know, this is the safe space to stand in. This is where all the lines are going to go. Stand out of all of that, you'll be okay type of thing. So, I mean, it's not really where we wanted to go, and I'm pretty sure that's where Blizzard didn't want the game to go, but damn you guys, you developers, you're very smart, so you know how to make the game just that much easier.
or functionally automated. So, official second best add-on in the entire world, Dialogue UI? No problem. Official best add-on in the entire world, Achievement Back Button? No problem. Weak auras? You don't have to do any homework on which of your add-ons is going to survive the move into Midnight or not, because with pre-patch, Blizz is disabling the load out-of-date add-ons option, which means if an add-on in your library hasn't been updated to work with the new API, it simply will not load when you log in. So you're not going to have to sift through a bunch of obsolete add-ons on day one.
Oh, I did not know that. So when you go to log in, the shit is not going to be loadable at all. I did not know. Oof. Ah, rip he killy.
More good news, in order
I knew they weren't going to update it, but I was still hoping that I could load the one that was out of date.
to support this brave new add-on world, the native UI is seeing a huge overhaul. Your cooldown manager has been expanded, raid frames have added customization, default nameplates are feeling a lot more usable kind of a bit at this stage, with a decent amount of customization to suit your playstyle. The new in-house damage meters are also here and also offer some visual customization along with some of the expected breakdowns.
Basically, damage meters for me is just this. It's really for you guys that are watching me on stream to say who's number one and who's the last, so you could all make fun and troll that last person. I know who you guys are out there, but that's all I use it for. You know, I very seldom will click on my abilities to see if I'm hitting something right, though I have, you know, when I've been playing my Resto Shaman to make sure I'm hitting my Loom enough or I'm hitting my Cloudburst enough, things of that nature. But, you know, it is what it is. You have 5-head people out there that really try to min-max a lot more than I do, for sure.
And if I may just come out of reporter mode for a second and
I know, I'm horrible. I'm horrible. Stop. Okay, whatever.
give a personal opinion here, yeah. Obviously, this is going to be a big change, and a lot of these UI updates and new add-ons simply will not have the kind of depth of functionality that many players, especially on the higher end, will have got used to over the last 10 years. So, as someone who played the whole of Season 1 of The War Within without add-ons as a special masochistic challenge just to see if I could, and you should watch the video honestly because I think you'll like it, but spoiler, I could. Please, allow me to give you some advice here, okay? Try not to go into pre-patch with preconceived ideas about what you're going to need. YouTube and social media is jammed at the moment with well-meaning videos telling you all the essential add-ons that you're going to need to make the game work after the changes. I am begging you, on day one, ignore them. Switch off all of your add-ons. Spend a day playing with the UI updates just to see what's possible, because I've got a feeling you'll probably be surprised by how much is possible, and then identify any functionality that you want that you can't make in-game and go looking for add-ons that fill those needs. Because if you go in pre-armed with a bunch of new add-ons that you've never used before that a YouTuber told you you needed, it's just going to make everything more confusing and more overwhelming. And I know many of you aren't going to take my advice here, and fair enough, but I promise, it's good advice. I'm secretly quietly optimistic that a lot of people are going to end up really liking these changes despite themselves, but there is no doubt that it's going to be a major point of discourse throughout the whole of Midnight, so yeah, I'm sure we'll visit this again.
Transmog system changes. I didn't lead with this, but as you know, transmog is what this game is truly all about. And the Midnight pre-patch sees a complete overhaul of this frankly ancient, like 15 years old ancient, and cumbersome system. Hey everyone!
Have they had transmog for that long? Has transmog been around for 15 years? I did not know this, if this was a thing. But if I had to think about it, you could buy the transmog mount from Mop, right? It was Mop. So Mop is 15 years old? Oh, wow, that is pretty crazy. I thought it was actually I didn't know it was that old. But yeah, the way that they're going to be having the transmog now and everything, it seems really, really user friendly. I think it's going to be something that's so cool. Walking into your house, just being in your pajamas, or going out to the beach, and anytime your feet touch the sand, you pop into your bathing suit. That's so cool. I think that's very neat.
Throwing that one in for the OGs. The tool then checks how you're performing in these queries, and I am happy to confirm that we do, in fact, appear in queries that include the phrase Talius and Inevitel. That's great news.
Are they married
and finally,
or siblings?
I like to feel like I'm in control of something. So did you know that you can actually upload your own fonts to Squarespace? I actually did not know this. Head into Site Styles, select where you want the font to appear, click the upload button, and voila! We now have Montserrat.
Do they have one for 300? Finding the font for 300 is so hard. If somebody can send me that on Discord, I'd appreciate it, because I want to incorporate it into everything on the stream. I can't find it.
Relevant or irrelevant
I've looked for it.
You may be, while still giving you control of those little details that make your website feel yours. Meanwhile, I am all about the 10% you can get off your first website or domain when you head to squarespace.com/TaliusandEvitel, or when you use code TaliusandEvitel, or when you just click the link in the description below. That's squarespace.com/TaliusandEvitel. It's Montserrat Black to be clear, but I'll go with extra bold or even just bold at a pinch. The headline here is the addition of outfits. Players will start with 2 free outfits and will be able to unlock up to 50 total outfits. Now, outfits are effectively just that. A set appearance for each of your gear slots that stays the same regardless of what you equip. It costs a bit of gold to change each gear slot within an outfit, up to around 3,000 gold to change all of them in one go, but once that outfit is unlocked and set, it's free to swap between outfits. Outfits can even be placed on your action bars, meaning you can swap to them or even macro them in without having to visit a transmogrifier. So you can swap between your town or country looks at the click of a button, or think smaller, have the same transmog in 2 slots, one with helm, one without, and take your hat on or off at the touch of a button. Or, and this is the really fun bit, have your transmog change automatically. Because all of this only really begins to make sense when you factor in situational transmog. Situations are part of a new system that allows players to automatically swap their outfits depending on the situation they're in. These conditions include location, movement, specializations, equipment sets, racial forms, and professions. So your transmog can change as you mount up, swim, enter a dungeon, enter your neighborhood, enter combat, swap to your visage form, pick a flower, punch a guy in the face, or RP walk over the corpse of your...
I think that is so cool, dude. I like the idea of going into the water and then you become like a deep sea diver, or I like the one that they just had there where you get on your Dragonflight mount and you put on your Dragonflight gear, complete with your goggles and everything. I think that is such good tech. Good tech.
Adjusted repeatedly since this feature was announced, but as it stands currently, they look like this. Slot 3 is 100 gold, slot 4 is 200, then we hit 1,000 at 7, 10,000 gold at slot 11, all the way up to 100,000 gold for each slot from 41 to 50. For anyone who would like to unlock all 50 slots, that is a cool 2,012,650 gold. And your old saved sets will still be there, and you can plonk them on whenever you like, when you chat with the transmogrifier. There's been a lot of split opinions about this new transmog system, but honestly, it's one of those classic WoW things where when you hear about it or even have it explained to you, then it's actually quite.
Well, I go back to like the people that were complaining about the bank, you know, and all the slots for the bank. How many of you bought all of those slots? I didn't. I didn't give a shit. So like I bought like 1 through 3, and then after that I saw the amount of junk I was collecting, and I just started emptying out the Woo bank. You know what I mean? So depending on what you want, depending on how much money you have, depending if you're one of those gold farmers, you know, it might not be a problem. But for those that are not, you know, pick and choose what you want. Throw the shit out.
Quite hard to understand, but when you see it in-game, in front of you, it makes a lot more sense, and you realize it's a huge improvement, actually. That's definitely the case here, in my opinion.
Pre-patch event, Twilight Ascension. Oh yeah, there's also the pre-patch event. Almost forgot about that. The pre-patch brings Twilight Ascension. Not right away though. This comes a week after the pre-patch on January the 27th. And our old friends, the Twilight's Hammer, are back. Although they've had a rebrand and are now the Twilight's Blade. A very, very subtle nod to their support for everyone's favorite Dommy Mommy. And it's our job to stamp them out. Like, just really step on them. Where was I again? Right, yes, so the big question is this a pre-patch to rival the undisputed best ever pre-patch for BFA, with the War of Thorns 3-week progressing questline charting the battles across Darkshore and the burning of Teldrassil and the attack on Lordaeron? Does it come close to Legion's effort, with the absolutely wild Legion invasion events and Broken Shore scenario? No.
Yeah, I was gone for 9 and 10 years, so I don't remember any of those. So they look pretty neat.
Like a WoW pre-patch event, like the War Within, or Dragonflight, or Shadowlands, or WoD. Actually, if I had to compare it to any pre-patch event, I'd compare it to WoD. Do you remember the WoD pre-patch? No? Exactly. Complete a questline beginning with the Cult Within, and you'll receive the Twilight Blades tabard, along with the title Definitely Not a Cultist, which will definitely have its uses. This will also unlock the Twilight Ascension weekly quests and world quests and rares in the Twilight Highlands. There is, of course, a currency in the form of the Twilight's Blade insignia, which you can get 40 of for doing the weekly quest, once per week per warband.
One thing that I'm noticing there, if this is all true, it doesn't look like the Valor Stones have yet been removed. That might just be a midnight thing. So when the expansion actually drops, that's when the Valor Stones will go away. Maybe, and I believe that's also when you go to upgrade your items, that'll start using the new upgrade system, which unfortunately is another thing I'm sure we will talk about. And hopefully raise our pitchforks high in the air to get that part of it removed, because I think that's a total shit show. For anyone that enjoys the army of alts that we have here at Alt Central, it is definitely something that we're not going to vibe for. We won't stand for it.
Of them per world quest, and 1 piddly shitty little insignia per rare. There are 18 rares cycling through a 10-minute timer, each of them requiring you to ambush camps, dispel a shield by killing ritualists, and take down the rare. And you're probably going to need quite a lot of people for that. And of course you're doing all this for a fun video game experience and a sense of accomplishment and a job well done.
Well, you sure the fuck ain't doing it for the vault. I'll tell you that right now. Don't do it for the vault.
Joking, you're doing it for rewards. Killing all 18 of those rares, plus a Voice of the Eclipse, which spawns from ethereal voids every hour, gives you the 2 minutes to midnight achievement and the light-forged mech suit mount, which is pretty cool. There are vendors that sell the nasty Nerubian retrained Sky Razor.
That is a very cool looking mount, but maybe somebody can put it down in the comments. There is a mount that I saw that actually has chains on it, and it looks like it's holding body parts. It looked very just epic. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what dropped it, but those were back, I want to say, right around the time of Legion, I think someone said. But like I said, I'm not a mount collector, so I'm not sure, but that is so cool.
amount, along with a handful of cute little pets, including a spore bit.
A spore.
Oh, I love a little spore bit. You can buy the well-worn Twilight's cultist attire and weapon arsenal, and 3 Blood Elf-themed decor items. A chair, a candelabra, and a fancy elven chaise. I say 3, obviously. You're going to need at least 5 of each, probably 10. Make it 20 just to be safe, because you don't want to be building something and get caught out and have to go back, you know. And, as has become traditional, you can use the event to get yourself some catch-up gear for 40 insignia a pop. The gear is level 121. Don't panic, there was a stat squish, remember, which is 1 out of 8 champion, upgradable to 144, which is the equivalent of Maniforge Omega normal gear. And yes, you can catalyze them to pick up any transmogs that you're still missing from last season. And that's pretty cool, actually. Okay, fine, it's probably better than the WoD pre-patch because of that and the candelabra and the fact that I can't remember the WoD pre-patch.
Winds of Mysterious Fortune. Speaking of catch-up, the Winds of Mysterious Fortune event returns from January 27th as well, bringing plus 20% XP to all leveling sources from level 10 to 80, awarding satchels with buffs and potions and gear, and giving significant reputation buffs. Dragonflight factions will get a 200% reputation increase, and War Within factions will get a 100% increase. There are a handful of goofy toys and cosmetics that drop too, along with a recolor of the 20th anniversary Timely Tourist set, which is fine. So,
but one thing that I'm not hearing anyone mention across these videos that we've been watching, we still have the regular experience buff, correct? Am I right by saying that? We still have that. So I was thinking, are those going to be stackable? Let me know in the comments. I don't understand if that is something we are still going to have going further. That's why I like the discussions we have down in the comments, because there are things that I don't understand, and I really just want to understand.
there you have it. That is everything that is coming in the Midnight pre-patch this month. Probably. Let us know what we missed in the comments below, comment fans. There are, of course, plenty of things you'll still have to wait for in Midnight proper. Apex talents, level 90 as the max, updated professions, and regular feature content like the new zones, leveling, the prey system, dungeons, and raids. If you enjoyed today's video, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their—
Yeah, very good video by Taliesin and Evertel. Very good. You know, one of the things that I also want to try and find out, you know, with the expansion coming out and everything like that, what are we going to be able to do when it comes by way of our one button assist? You know, are people going to be getting new loadouts for that? Is that going to make your grooves better, worse? You know, we're covering a lot more of Midnight's dungeons as we move forward as well, so we're going to be looking at some of the mechanics in there, and our group's going to be in for a easier or harder time. We'll find out about that as well. Keep in mind, I stream on Twitch every Monday through Friday, and that's at Achilles_1970, and YouTube as well, so keep an eye out for that. Other than that, you guys take care and have a good one.